One of the questions I get asked the most is how I read so much. As somebody who reads like 200 to 300 books per year, and I do have a job, here are my hacks and how I manage to fit in that much reading time. Number one is always audiobooks. I will always consider audiobooks as reading. If you don't, go ahead and scroll, but to me an audiobook is the same as a book. You're still getting the same story, and I always have an audiobook going every time I'm doing any sort of household chore. If I'm doing the dishes, if I'm doing the laundry, if I'm walking the dog, if I'm vacuuming, no matter what I'm doing, I have my AirPods in and I'm listening to an audiobook, and I personally like my audiobooks sped up, so I get through audiobooks pretty fast. My next tip is setting a goal for yourself every single week for how many pages to read if you're reading physical books, or if you're reading Kindle books, maybe it's for what percentage to get through on your Kindle. I am a checklist girly at heart. I have a very absurd whiteboard checklist that I very meticulously keep every week, and every single day my goal for physical books is to read 50 pages a day. If I don't get all my checks by the end of the week, I'm not feeling great about myself. So it's a really good self-motivator because I try to get every single check mark done, and there's a lot. Again, it's kind of a psycho little system I have. It's probably not healthy, but it's a way that I motivate myself because I like to see all of those little green check marks. Now, if you're not a checklist girly, if that won't motivate you, that's okay. Maybe create like a reward for yourself at the end of each week. If you are able to meet your reading goal, maybe go out and get a coffee from your favorite coffee shop, or go out to Barnes & Noble and treat yourself to a book, although then your TBR will just keep getting longer, but you won't see me saying that's a problem. But in some way, incentivize yourself to read, because it is easy to just doom scroll, but it's harder to do that if you know you have like a goal in mind, and if you have either a reward at the end of the day, or in my case, my silly little check mark. If you have a Kindle, I also recommend reading on your Kindle. I think it's really easy to get distracted when you're reading a physical book, especially if you have your phone right next to you. I will put my phone like away on my nightstand, and there's a certain point each night where I'm done on my phone. I can't do doom scrolling anymore. I'm just gonna read until I go to sleep. And it also helps me go to sleep because it's really hard to be looking at like a real screen, like a phone screen, and going to sleep, but reading on my Kindle puts me to sleep every single time. So it's a way that I keep my like same bedtime every night, but it's also a way that I sneak in a few extra pages every single night too. Something I also do is I never go anywhere without either my Kindle or a physical book or headphones to be listening to my audiobook, because if I'm waiting in a grocery store line, or if I'm in the car, for example, I'm always having an audiobook going. If my husband's driving somewhere and I'm passenger princess, like sometimes he wants to do his own thing and listen to music or listen to his own audiobook, so I'll have my Kindle out. So I always make sure I have a book on me, because you never know when you're gonna have like 10-15 minutes that you're just like sitting there, and instead of doom scrolling, now I'm reading instead. I'm a piano teacher, and even just like the little breaks between students, like I have all my lessons on the dot, so there shouldn't be a break in students, but every once in a while somebody's late and I have 5 minutes that I can't even really be on my phone because I have music playing on the speakers, so I don't want to like mess with my phone and mess with my music, so I always have my Kindle to just pull out, read a couple pages. And those little small like increments of being able to read a few pages here and there, it sounds like nothing, but by the end of the week, like that all adds up. If you are a like book talker or bookstagrammer, then I recommend doing like the how many pages can you read in an hour challenge, because it forces you to like, you're setting up your phone on a time lapse so you can't touch your phone, and